Hey everybody, and a happy new year. Welcome to the Irish Wrestling Podcast. Your host Gerry, along with himself, Mark O'Brien. He is the Mark of AEW. We're here to talk about AEW in 2024. We're looking to do some predictions, and we'll come back on this next year around this time and see how our predictions fell out. So, Mark, we talked about AEW in 2023. We talked about all their signings. Now we're going to talk about the last pay-per-view of the year and 2024. How did you think World's End ended and went as a whole? Paper.
Thanks, Jerry. Yeah, I felt like my view of AEW ended in itself. Everything just felt horrendous. I like myself, I feel horrendous. I was up till 5 or 6 in the morning watching that show. It's now 12 p.m. I've had about 5 hours sleep, and I feel dreadful. And I regret watching that show entirely. You got up at 5 a.m. to watch it. You're a far wiser man than I. I could have watched it on 2 times speed if I'd known how terrible it was. So my view and hopes for AEW and everything that's happened in the last 48 hours or so has brought me to a point of extreme cynicism and pessimism. But however, I've no doubt they will turn it around once I talk myself into the beauty and pageantry of the C2 that was the past number of weeks and the brilliant 2024 that will occur going forward, I'm sure.
Let's hope so. Let's waste no time. We're going to go into it. I will rush through the pre-show, the buy-in. Willow Nightingale defeated Kris Statlander. Nothing really major happened in that match. It could have appeared on a Dynamite or Rampage. There wasn't nothing really in it. But 2024, Kris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, do you think they're going to have a bigger year in 2024?
I think 2 of the best women's wrestlers in the world. Kris Statlander has given half the women's roster in AEW their best matches. It was a bit weird, this match. It was a couple of short couple of moves that didn't exactly go to plan. I did like that both of them were featured. Both of them were from Long Island. Why in God's name did Jimmy Jacobs book Abaddon versus Julia Hart in the main card instead of this? Is beyond me. God knows he likes spooky things like he did in Impact Wrestling. Hopefully Jimmy Jacobs is gone soon. I did like after this match though the Serena Deeb package.
Yes.
Who's been missing for a long, long time. Hopefully that's a good sign for the women's division going forward. Listen. It was a fine pre-show match. It was better than half the main show.
Okay, yeah, I think Willow Nightingale is definitely in need of a title reign in 2024. I think she's proven herself time and time again. 2023, and she don't need outside of Ring of Honor. Like I think on AEW TV itself, she needs to be in some sort of title picture next year or this year. As we're recording, it's New Year's Eve, so this will go out in 2024. So this year, yeah. After that, we had the 20-man battle royal for the contract for the TNT title, won by Kill Switch. Still can't call him Kill Switch. Don't like calling him that stupid name. What do you think?
Lucha Switch, Killsaurus, whatever he is, 20 jobbers in the ring, all jumping over the top rope. It was fine. There was nothing really expect off the back of this. There was like 1 or 2 funny Danhausen spots, a funny Matt Maynard spot. Kind of like the stuff Matt Maynard's doing with Danny Garcia in the background, but I don't know. I expect there to be like a Shelton Benjamin or a Dolph Ziggler or something like one of these guys who's free just to appear or do something. Or even somebody from like MLW, like Alex Hammerstone or something. I thought somebody like him might come in and do a spot in this, but no, it was just like 20 jobbers in a ring, jumping over the top rope one at a time.
There was a little shout out there, just to Mad Kurt.
Yeah.
What's his name? Did a dab in the middle of the ring. Gone. His name's completely forgotten.
I'm sorry, I'm sleep deprived. I can't remember myself
English,
either.
English lad. AW, fucking the blonde bleached hair.
Jesus. Cape Sabian. Sorry, excuse me.
Sorry, Jesus Christ. Fucking half asleep trying to remember.
Listen, you're dead right. There's plenty of mentions of him throughout the show as well.
Yeah, there was.
Eddie Kingston went above and beyond, as we'll touch on later. It was a really nice moment.
Yeah. R.I.P. to Matt Kurt as well. So
yeah,
such a young age and to be losing him. So.
Yeah.
Also, obviously, like we mentioned, the Killswitch did win that title. That'll go on later on in the show. Hook and Wheeler Yuta. Just another match that could have been on any random episode of Dynamite or Rampage. What's the plans? What do you think, Wheeler Yuta or Hook for 2024?
I mean, both the same person they were like 2 years ago. Like, not that they haven't been given ample opportunity in every possible way to improve. Dread for Yuta promo before the match. Fucking Hook somehow has access to a train siren. I don't know what that was about.
That was, I think, it was something to do with the hockey team, the New York.
Did it?
That's, yeah, I think that's
They're
their
the
siren.
Long
Young,
Island train sirens, right? Okay.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Taz was trying too hard in commentary. My notes said both of these lads need to eat some food and go to the gym. Um, Hook won by choking Yuta out with a weapon, which is a nice loophole because it was WTF rule. So, uh, Hook retained the Fuck the World title, using Fuck the World rules. Okay. So it's a hardcore match, the hardcore title. Right, okay. Fine. And they finished up with like, oh, what happened there?
Oh,
Put a
somebody
lot of it.
fucked up your world.
Sorry. Then with about a minute to go, they finished with about a minute to go before the pay-per-view started. So it was fine. Yeah. Nice little pre-show. As you would to be expected.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
Um,
still better than Jack Perry versus Hook at All In though. So fuck
yeah. Well, Hook seems to be the pre-show king. Like, he's not really getting any main event spots. Like, even though he was like flying for a while, he was undefeated until he lost the title to Jack Perry that time. But since then, he hasn't really
yeah,
bounced back properly, has he?
yeah, like I think he's, as I said, he's still roughly the same guy he was a couple of years ago. Like he's doing an awful lot more selling. Like the first year or so, he didn't sell anything. It was
Yeah.
just non-stop 5 minute matches. And he's kind of has obviously he has progressed, but he's probably not at the speed that people would like. And his presentation, he's very protected in terms of brought in as a badass, presents as a badass. His music, his entrance, everything. Tony's kind of gone above and beyond to present him as a star.
Hmm.
But he's very conscious of not like overexposing him. So when he has thrown him to matches where there's a bit more required of him, he hasn't quite delivered. So
Would he be in this position if he wasn't Taz's son?
I would, yeah. Like they don't have that many people, and Tony's very, very keen to give young people big opportunities and big
Hmm.
spots. Like he gave fucking Brian Pillman Jr. a fucking go in Cincinnati with Mox. So
Yeah.
and like look at that dickhead in NXT now, Lexus King or whatever he's called.
We'll speak about Wheeler Yuta. We're all going to speak about the Blackpool Combat Club. The main show started off with that
Mm.
the leftovers of the Continental Classic, basically
That's
a
French
random
all-star tag, Gerry.
leftovers. That's Christmas leftovers. That's exactly what it is. It's just a sandwich of turkey and ham and cranberry sauce stuck together for
Yeah.
just for the sake of eating. Um, do you think the Blackpool Comp? What's the Blackpool Comp? What are they like? Are they heels? Are they faces? What's going on with the Blackpool Combat
I
Club?
don't know. Are they more of an idea than a thing? I don't know. I think they're just three veterans who are just class and people respect them as such.
Hmm.
Like I think they treat Mox, Danielson, and but like even if they're heels or faces, they don't change how they wrestle. And I think they openly
No.
call Wheeler a little shit,
Hmm.
so he can be a heel still. Like I love this 8 man tag. I think it was an absolute brilliant way to start a pay-per-view. It was a way of protecting Danielson as well ahead of facing Okada in a couple of days at Wrestle Kingdom. It was a way of highlighting all the different stories and dynamics of the Continental Classic. Continental Classic's the best thing that's been on
Yeah,
television
that's the
in
best thing.
any wrestling. I think it's the best thing in about 20 years. I
I
think it's
think it's the best thing
unbelievable.
every AEW have ever done
It's
is that.
unbelievable, yeah, and that's saying a lot given like CM Punk and Cody Rhodes and all the kind of stuff they've done brilliantly in the
Yeah,
past. So
and it's coming back next year, so thankfully.
yeah, thank God. Well, I mean, without Andrade, which will make me cry, but anyway,
Yeah,
every single person that is better off for the T2. They're all elevated as stars, which is then why after we got through that match, then you're like the next like 5 matches after, like why the fuck are we watching these people? I want to go back to the Continental Classic
yeah.
stuff.
I was that was a nice touch that they finally let Garcia get a win.
Well, he won last week, Jerry.
Yeah, but like
Yeah,
yeah,
I know. It was
you
cool.
know,
I know. I like that they did the same finish, and I think he's just so good. Like
is he
Danielson interrupting him as well. I think he's brilliant. Yeah.
has he headed to the Blackpool Combat Club, or are they going to keep playing this Matt
I'd
Menard
say
stuff off him?
no. I'd say he'll do. Matt Menard will be his like mouthpiece. I thought the idea of Matt Menard initially was to give him like a build into a feud, but they've kind
Yeah,
of seemed to have pivoted now to Matt Menard being like his manager mouthpiece kind of
yeah.
thing.
Watch, he's brilliant on. He was brilliant
Yeah,
on commentary for
yeah,
this as
I
well.
quite like it actually. It's a bit weird just calling him his son, but anyway, yeah, my son,
He's probably old
my
enough
son.
to be
Yeah,
his
yeah, probably
father.
is. Yeah,
All right, so outside of the Combat Club and Daniel Garcia, you had Brody King, Jay White, Jay Lethal, and Rush all in this match. Like, how do you think 2024 is going to go for them?
I reckon JY will be one of the six pillars of the company. Not one of the trophy AEW pillars they're talking before. We could probably get to that in a bit. I think, well, say now, I think you're going to have next year, you're going to have MJF, Adam Cole, you're going to have Swerve, Hangman, and you're going to have Will Ospreay and Jay White. They're the six people you're going to build your whole company around this coming year. I think Jay White is a proven G1 Climax
Mm-hmm.
finalist. He's former IWG heavyweight champion. He sold out Madison Square Garden, as he says. He's the catalyst of all professional wrestling. I think he's fucking unbelievable. The interactions he had with Bryan Danielson, even so briefly in that match, were brilliant. Roosh, I'm heartbroken that Andrade's gone, so I'm hoping Roosh can fill that spot of. I just don't think he's as good as Andrade. I think Andrade's just unbelievable, but Andrade's now
Yeah.
going to go and sit in catering in WWE and then come out and do 10-minute matches where 5 minutes of it are taken up by entrances and ad breaks. Do a couple of crappy spots, hit a finish, go home, do some melodrama with your manager on the outside. Like, oh, I'm sorry. I think
I'm surprised that he's going. I know his contract that he asked for his release. I'm not really sure exactly what went down. And you'll probably
yeah,
know more than I do. But they finally got Ric Flair in AEW. Something they tried to do last year, a year
yeah.
before, when they're trying to pair him and Andrade up, and have him as manager. But now that they finally got Flair, Andrade's fucking off the other direction.
I
So
know, yeah.
it doesn't want to be associated with him at all on TV.
Apparently him and Charlotte were separated for some time, so then now they're back together. So probably might have something to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fair enough. Again, and also obviously like throwing yourself at wood and metal on the floor for a living. You want to be paid handsomely or get the most amount of money you can do or
Uh-huh.
you can get for the limited time you're able to do it. It's just such a shame because since the summer, since Collision launched, everything he's done has been immaculate.
Yeah.
I thought he was the best person in the entire C2. I loved everything he did and said, all his promos and stuff.
Do you
I watched his
think?
matches in CMLL the past week as well. They were all brilliant. So it's just a shame.
Do you think
Yeah.
this was like short notice that they was leaving? Like,
He-
did they
Oh,
know
sorry. Yeah, he came into work on Wednesday.
that was it?
Yeah, they thought they due to time added on through injuries, he should have been under contract through the end of April. But he had some sort of legal loophole. And brought his solicitor with him to work and kind of had a big row with the AEW office on Wednesday and told them I'm off. Didn't give them any more notice than like what 3 days before pay-per-view. So fair enough. Each their own.
And how did you think the match was? Was it
Oh, sorry, the
were you
Andrade Miro
expected?
match. Sorry, we're on
Yeah.
moving on to that now. Yeah, Andrade Miro. Yeah, it was so weird because the whole crowd knew that like there's only gonna be one winner here. They all knew that there's gonna be some sort of CJ Perry twist. They all knew Andrade's off. They're obviously a crowd that reads the internet. Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of there's a lot of WWE house show melodrama stuff with the
Mm,
Miro CJ. Like Miro was class when he was against Hobbs a few weeks ago, or a few months ago. Like there's so many things he's really good at, and then he gets brought back down to this stuff where he's doing a WWE house show style stuff. Just like one strike, looks at the crowd for 5 minutes, then does another thing. Guess it's just so slow paced.
yeah.
Professional pride shone through at one point. I thought. Or Andrade fired up and went through some nice spots. Yes, yeah, it was really.
Were
I
you
think it
surprised
was.
that after all the drama went down that it wasn't like a 5 minute squash match?
No, because AEW don't squash people on the way out. They treat people well on the way out. They did the
Uh,
same with Jay Cargill. Because they don't want to be WWE generally, despite them becoming a perverted boys clubs. Sorry. Um, which WWE is. So yeah, I don't know. I think they're trying to be better than that, and it gives another reason for people to kind of come and go. Yeah, look, it was weird. It was very weird, and the whole atmosphere, the whole building felt weird as well.
yeah, and
I think
Miro and I want to say Lana, but CJ Perry teaming up again, is that something for
God,
2024 you were expecting? Would you rather have him on his own?
God help us. I was happy with CJ with Andrade and Miro on his own. If Miro actually turned up to TV, but he doesn't. Often he refuses to lose matches, so there you are. That's a shoot. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. Like we can put them back together again. They're gonna do more cuckold angles. I don't know what they're gonna do with him. If he can't lose, doesn't want to wrestle that often. Will he do something spooky with the House of Black after FDR face him? I don't know.
But
I love Miro generally. I love the Redeemer stuff,
yeah.
but I
Do
think
you think it
it's
was a do you think it was a rash decision, like, the fact that Andrade was leaving and they needed an out just to
I
take her
think
off? Was that the plan all along to put them
I've
back
no,
together?
I've no idea. I think there was I don't know. I really don't know. I think there was so much happened in the hours and days leading up to it that I think there was a level of apathy perhaps from both men, and there's a level of apathy from the crowd, probably even from apathy from the commentators. And it just brought down and really made you remind yourself of the shit stuff that's gone on the last 24 hours, and the kind of over the next coming um matches. It was kind of further exacerbated by the things you don't like in AEW compared to things you do like. So yeah.
Something I do like is Timeless Tony Storm.
Yeah.
Um, I really enjoy this character.
Right.
It's completely different than anything on
Yeah.
TV at the minute, and
Yeah.
she really is living that character
Mm,
when she's on TV. So,
mm.
um, the match wasn't really anything spectacular. I can't really believe Riho is she's technically good, but I don't know. There's just something missing when she's in matches with people bigger than her. I just don't really believe what she's doing.
Yeah,
What
like,
did you?
so I think Tony didn't have her. She doesn't know how to wrestle as this timeless Tony gimmick. She
Mm-hmm.
can do all the characters, she can do all the promos, but she can't wrestle as it. And Tony Storm as a wrestler is one of the best female wrestlers in the world. But
Yeah.
just think this character and portraying herself as a character in ring is complete contradiction to the ethos that AEW will be the sports-based company going forward. Like she's dressed as fucking Simon Gotch in the ring. And she's doing shit with fucking that Jericho hand me down Luther.
Luther.
Mariah May could have done stuff instead of him. I don't know why the fuck he's there. He's a guy like in his near 60s. It was grand. Yeah, the crowd kind of got there in the end. Tony won, but it was more of a women's title should be treated with the same reverence of a men's world title. It shouldn't be a shtick gimmick.
Shouldn't
It
be a
should be
third match on the card either. It's a
well, I
bad
mean,
spot.
I don't mind that. Like, it's fucking. It depends on how you want to structure it. If you want to keep things away from each other.
Mm.
Um, but the two women's titles are surrounded by gimmicks now rather than wrestling ability. And Riho's class, Toni Storm is class. Wrestlers in their own right, they're better than 90% of the WWE roster. I genuinely believe that. And Riho's able to do the underdog stuff really, really well as she has in the past. I just think it was just there's too much shtick around Toni Storm. It's just character's brilliant, but it's just not has to have some sort of end point when she gets into the ring where she suddenly can wrestle as Toni Storm again, one of the best
Mm.
women's
Yeah,
wrestler in
yeah.
the world. And there's just that disconnect, and they've gone too far with the character. Like it's so over the top that it's why is it a heel? Or why is it a
Is she? Is she really?
yeah, but like that's my question. Like what's the crack? Is she a heel? Is she a face? What's going on? Because she wrestles technically as a heel, but all her mannerisms have people chanting for timeless and stuff like that. Like it's funny, she left WWE because she was sick of all the kind of over the top stuff and getting dog food poured in her and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's reverted to this type of thing. So it's just a bit of a contradiction. But like she's obviously having a ball. And I think Jimmy Jacobs and Tony Khan have consciously tried to they've taken responsibility from the women's division away from a lot of people, which is why you've seen over the last number of months, say a year, a lot of people have been slowly, gently pushed, and
Mm-hmm.
where their perception by fans and they're able to be put into spots like this match. You had three women's matches on the card a year ago. Would any of them been on the card? I don't know. And then you had the likes of Sky Blue interfering and Mariah May being down there. So you've got eight women suddenly who are all featuring on a pay-per-view card. I don't think a year ago when it was on the women's division was under the hands of somebody else that would have been the case. It's also a division where you've got Britt Baker, Serena Deeb, Jamie Hayter, Mercedes Martinez, loads of other women to come back into it. And you've obviously got the best women's wrestler in the world is Athena, who's on Ring of Honor. So um Then you've got Mercedes Moné who's about to come in, so possibly Julia as well now. So there's a load of different stuff in that division going on. And if you watch Ring of Honor, more than nearly half the show is in-ring women's action and
Yeah.
backstage women's promos. They actually
Hmm.
Toni, for all his crap thrown at him, he's using that show as a vehicle to really build up women. Like
If only some, most, if only people watched it, like.
yeah, and I think he's trying. I think he's trying very, very hard because there's WrestleNomics and all these different places put out these minute by minute percentage of shows and minutes of shows where women are in ring or backstage promos. AEW still features more than SmackDown or Raw in terms of women being appearing on shows, generally speaking, week to week. ROH and NXT are the two most prominent
Hmm.
women's wrestling shows. So I suppose like yeah, he's trying. He's like he gets because it's AEW to get a worse rap than anybody else, needlessly, just because there's a higher expectation. They want to be everything to anyone. And people don't have high expectations of WWE despite their huge success. So yeah, okay, I just feel sorry
It's
for him.
just, I think it's more just the format of just having the
Yeah,
women on at that same time slot every week on Dynamite. It's
yeah,
just been
yeah,
factored in that that's the only time they're on TV. That's the
yeah,
perception everybody has. So
yeah.
you just have to keep watching more wrestling. They
I
see
know,
more women
I
wrestling.
know. But it's yeah, it's just I hope they can. I think his view is that like the women I had previously, there wasn't enough good ones physically and technically in ring to feature them. So
Hmm.
if they're not good enough physically and technically, I'm gonna have to build up their characters as well. Um, but yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on to be honest. I know Jimmy Jacobs has a big hand in it, and he did the Undead Realm in Impact Wrestling for years, which is absolutely shite. And so much of the shite that's occurred in AEW over the last year has been Jimmy Jacobs' fault, and Jimmy Jacobs is a questionable man with questionable morals, so fuck him.
Well, while we're talking about him, we may as well talk about the Julia Hart
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
and Abaddon match.
yeah. That was fucking horrendous.
Yeah, it's
One of the
terrible.
worst matches I've seen on a pay-per-view. Having said that, like it wouldn't be out of place in most WWE shows from the 2010s, and that's not me being rude.
Not even the 2010s. A couple of years ago, they were having fucking
Yeah, like
zombie
it was.
matches.
Yeah, it was. Sky Blue appeared. Abaddon sat up, jumped out of the ring, ran back in the ring, and lost. Like it wasn't that bad. It was just
It was
I don't know.
messy.
Yeah, it was messy. It was spooky shit. It was 5 in the morning. I barely watched. I remember I was chatting to Ibu of Wrestle Purist, and he said, "I think this is the worst match I've ever seen." I was like, "Well, no, it's not the worst match I've ever seen, but it's up there."
It's right up there.
Yeah, for AEW anyway.
What do you think for this guy? She hasn't been confirmed. This guy Blue in the House of Black now, or is
Or she
this
House
just
of
a side
Spooky, or
project?
is she Sky Black? I don't know. Yeah, Julie Hart, they and Sky Blue. Tony has huge, huge hope for both of them, which is why they've been featuring weekly for months on end.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Yeah, I don't know. They've tried really hard at Abaddon. I don't know if they think they can get sell toys with her or something, but they signed her a couple of years ago during
Yeah,
Daily's Place COVID stuff, and like I say, she's appeared on television less than 20 times since.
I honestly don't even remember. I don't think I've seen why this match was even happening. To be honest, I
Yeah, I
don't
think
remember the
yeah, it
build.
was she won some match on she won some match anyway, and then she was a number one contender. I just think on Long Island, you've got Willow and Kris Statlander both from there. You could easily have had her with Julie Hart.
Yeah,
You could have done some screwy finish for one of them. You could have. There's 100 different women in the back that could have done that would be a better choice in this. And like, granted, they're a big fan of Julia Hart, and she's improved hugely, but she's still not dynamic in her
is she
movements.
AEW Women's Championship material, or is this
Not
TNT is
now.
her limit there?
Yeah, I think this would be her limit. She's only like 20 or something as well. So like
Yeah,
it's hard
they're
for us to judge. Like
yeah.
yeah, well hopefully she gets brought up along. She's one of those ones where you think she needs to be working with somebody who's physically bigger than her. I think like possibly Riho as well, whereby it doesn't look contrived when you're with. They're both women, say about 5'4", maybe
Maybe
way
even.
smaller, maybe
Yeah.
maybe smaller. So when you're shooting somebody off the ropes it looks like we're shoving you from like 20 feet away, and you're gonna run the whole 20 feet. Then you're gonna bounce off the ropes. Like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is,
yeah.
you need somebody who's gonna fucking, you know what I mean? It needs that kind of bigger and smaller dynamic to make it look good. Um, so I think herself, Sky Blue, Abaddon, they're all in that kind of bucket. And Riho to an extent, whereby I think their selection of opponents and partners could be better. Just for an optics wise, because you are still portraying contests in a sport. Yeah, there was just a few things optically that I thought were just a bit weird. But anyway,
Yeah, like see what happens in 2024. Like, because she is still associated with the House of Black. Whether
yeah.
she's going to be still associated with this time next year, it's hard to
You know,
know.
she was pushing that big in the press conference afterwards that she wanted to
Mm.
be with the House of Black and those are her boys. And like to be fair to her, like it's better than doing the shite with Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr.
Oh
like as
yeah,
King. Yeah, so and
yeah,
what she's a
no, most
cheerleader.
definitely.
So, but like I mean, the space of a year, look how far she's improved. What's she going to be like another year?
Yeah, let's hope
They
so.
think hugely of her in AEW.
Yeah,
So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
yeah. Somebody that everybody thinks hugely off in AEW is Swerve Strickland.
Yeah.
Bit of a disappointment that we talked about it before the pay-per-view yesterday regarding Keith Lee and not showing up.
Mm,
This was a strange booking decision, I think, with Dustin coming out. First of all, like fair enough, like they're in a tag team and he was taking his place, but the whole like dynamic of attacking him before the match and it looked like the
yeah.
match wasn't going to happen, and then he had a struggle to beat Dustin.
Yeah.
Didn't really do much for Swerve, and in my eyes, I thought he should have just either not have the match or squash him the minute
Yeah,
he injured him
I think they had to have a match anyway, just because yeah, Tony was like, no,
for
you have to put on a
time.
show for the fan. No, for the fan, I know, yeah, but I mean, I suppose the idea was that you've got to show the vicious side of Dustin or to Swerve and how angry
Mm-hmm.
he is. Um, yeah, I mean, I understand the struggle of Dustin never giving up. I just think after that, like in terms of he kind of recovered from a fairly broken ankle very quickly.
Yeah,
Miraculously, some would say. I don't know. I like listen, Dustin sounds and it's for fucking fair play to him stepping up. Keith Lee didn't turn up to work on Wednesday. They arrived to the building yesterday saying he didn't want essentially he couldn't wrestle. Tony's like, yeah, he's a bit is something he had like a swollen knee or something. Like, yeah, he had a swollen knee, wasn't cleared, sorry. Swerve was absolutely fuming in the press conference, pretty much saying he's not going to work with them again because that's not the first time he's
and they're
essentially
like
he's
they go
either
back
put
a long time. Like they've been,
yeah, it's
we've seen
essentially
them over here for
it's pathetic.
OTT, and
Like somebody who's like your former tag team partner and you're not willing to lose a match to him, like, or you're gonna go out of your way to mess him about on the day of a pay-per-view. So that's pathetic. Dustin Rhodes was partnered with Lee for a while. Um, so yeah, like that's it made sense in that sense. It was a good person to step in because he'll always have a good match. If they told a decent story of Dustin fighting and etc. etc. But again, like everybody in the arena knew the shenanigans that had happened backstage. So hopefully Keith Lee's fired or gone with Andrade. Um yeah, I don't know. It was like another kind of middling match where just the whole room felt apathetic and pissed off, and probably reflected the mood of Swerve as
yeah.
well, and probably the mood of Tony and the
Did it
commentators were one of their big matches they promised on the card they couldn't deliver on the day of.
after but after the year Swerve's had, like he's had
Yeah.
probably outside of maybe the top or two or three people, like he's a standout of the year for me, one of the best wrestlers of 2023 across the whole
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
wrestling industry.
yeah.
Struggling to beat somebody in his 50s who's I loads of respect for Dustin. I watched started watching WCW in the early 90s when he was teaming with Barry Windham. That's how far back my
Yeah.
relationship with Dustin Rose goes, so I'll have all this respect in the world for him. But at the end of the day, Swerve, having beaten so many people in the Continental
Mm.
Classic and getting to this stage and struggling to beat Dustin didn't help his overall
Yeah,
standings like going into 2024.
I don't know what you do though. I think you have to do something because he's so big a star. You can't leave him off. I think you have to do something that's worthwhile. You can't like is squash. No, it's not. Squash won't work. It's not good enough. It needs to be a big match. It needs to be, and it needs to be a performance. You need to show how class and vicious and etc. Swerve is. Squash is too formulaic and contrived. It's squash is. We're all kind of trained for these things purely because we've watched WWE for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I think this was the cinder block was probably the wrong move. However,
Oh, definitely.
like I mean, I think if they'd, I think that when he rammed Dustin's head into the stairs and Dustin was carried off and came back at that point, I think everything else would have made sense. I think it was just the cinder block to me. You could have done the cinder
Mm.
block after the match. Um,
But like
never
Swerve's
mind.
over, like it's the fans are
Yeah,
still cheering him.
yeah,
They
and
they love him.
everybody wanted to see him, and they wanted to see him be him and do everything involved and everything he did. Uh, like I think they made the best of a bad situation. I think there's the cinder block thing was just the one choice I would disagree with.
Hmm.
Like yeah, like everything bar that I thought was good. I think obviously he's the press conference afterwards. You can see how determined and focused he is. Like he's not the scrawny little guy who was coming over to OTT for years to do flippy divey dancey stuff. Like he's now an adult because he eats food and goes to the gym. It reflects in his appearance and his perception from the crowd. He looks bigger. He's taken more seriously. Same with Andrade. It's not a secret formula. Go to the gym, eat food, and you'll move up the card. Yeah, like he'll be champion by Revolution 2024, I believe.
Do you think so? Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's the natural move now. Um,
that's a
given
good
this
shout.
given there's so many people moving off the card, there's so many people injured or away, there's so many people who are towards the tail end of their career. I think naturally for a guy of Samoa Joe's standing, it'd be a bit, maybe I don't know. Ooh, I
Well, there's no
think
pay-per-views between now and Revolution. They announced that
yeah.
already.
So I think there's going to be you could do some sort of shenanigans whereby it gets pushed to double or nothing or something. I think you'll end up having you could have. I think you'll end up having a Swerve Hangman match at some point. I'm just in my head. I'm trying
Another.
to think. I'm trying to think. Yeah, for the world title.
Or
Uh,
if when Swerve wins it,
yeah, I think you're gonna have. I'm trying to think. Will it be at double or nothing, or will it be Swerve Ospreay at All
all in.
In? I'm just trying to think what makes sense or what's that kind of intuitive feel for the best one for Ospreay at All In. But anyway, so I think Swerve will be champion for. It could be champion at All In actually. Yeah, it could actually be. Yeah, fair play to him.
I hope so.
Um,
I hope he is. I
yeah,
think he I
it's
think he did of all the people, like he definitely
yeah,
deserves it.
it's just it's hard to think of the who would he face it all in type thing then following that, but that's to be determined. What's a bigger match? I'd probably save him and Hangman for all in to be perfectly honest. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, well, depends what to do with Hangman now that Adam
Yeah.
Cole's been revealed. Like, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, bit of an awkward moment here for Lee Six Gods. I don't think they should be using that name anymore, but like Six Gods, Jericho, Guevara, along with Sting and Darby Allin against Don Callis family, Big Bill,
Yeah.
Ricky Starks.
Yeah.
Um, bit of a messy enough match for the amount of people who were in it. So didn't
Yep.
wasn't really thrilled with the match overall, and I know the fans were giving him shit already. So I
Yeah.
kind of there were kind of a better taste, regardless if it's true or not, or if the allegations are actually legit. The taste of your in your mouth was already there going into this match, so it kind of
Well,
took
there's
took
one
me out of it.
allegation that's floating around about Kylie Ray, but there's many other allegations that
Hmm.
and behavior patterns of behavior that have gone on for years and years and years. And all the whole wrestling media actually knows about it, but they've just said nothing about it. They're too quick to judge about Ric Flair and Vince McMahon and all these other people, while also praising somebody who's supposed to be this font of virtue and supposed to be the good guy working for AEW when he's actually not that nice a guy. Anyway, he obviously Chris Jericho came out into the arena, looked awkward, looked like a guy who's knew the jig is up. Every spot he did where there's supposed to be some sort of pandering to the crowd, he was never facially engaging with
Hmm.
cameras or anything. Listen, he knows the crack. He knows he's fucked. He knows he's gone. Um, everybody booed through the sing along.
Yeah.
Everybody booed when his music stopped. Everybody booed when when he was in the ring. Ricky Starks came into the ring at one point, gave him the finger, and then walked away.
Didn't want to work with him.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I don't know. Um,
Is it
there
a
was other.
wise decision to even put him on TV at the minute? Like, should he like
So I'm in
till
two
it blows
minds, right? So
over?
like it's optically, and you can talk about this kind of stuff. Like I believe in the rule of law,
Oh
and
yeah, innocent till.
yeah, 100%. I hate trial by Twitter. I hate the
Hmm.
idea of it. Like just the group mob mentality can ruin somebody's life by one person spreads a rumor, right? Just that
Yeah,
whole idea, first of all,
yeah.
regardless of the truth behind it. So I think they could have done something to. I wouldn't. I think Tony Khan is right in saying at the press conference, like, if there's a specific incident or allegation being made, bring it forward and we will investigate. However, there's nothing been brought forward by anybody at all. He is right in that sense. But there's also the concept of like people don't feel safe to bring up these things against somebody who's powerful, etc., and the reputation, all that kind of stuff. So
Hmm.
there are two arguments, and like we're two men discussing this, so we can't really fully appreciate the ins and
No,
outs of these things. So just
not
I
at
think
all.
we have to conscious that lens as well. Um, However, my fantasy booking of last night's card would have been far better if I was in charge. And I think you could have had Takeshita versus Swerve, you could have had Hobbs versus Miro, and you could have had Sting versus Darby against Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Sting and Darby should have won the titles. Then you could have Sting and Darby versus the Bucks at Revolution to finish off his
Why
career.
didn't this? Why wasn't even though overall? Why wasn't this match a title match, a four-way title match with all these tag teams in
It
it? Like
was, they wanted to do after Kenny Omega.
that was the title
Sickness.
match,
Yeah,
Kenny and
but it was, he got sick, and then there was supposed to be Ibushi, but like Jericho and Ibushi are two washed up old men who are both crocked, so it wouldn't have been a good match. Then they tried to shoehorn Sammy Guevara in. When Sammy Guevara appeared the other day, I assumed he was going to be in the title match, but then they obviously realized no, we need to get Sting in there because that'll kind of save things.
they wanted to give Sting a victory in his last match in New York
Yeah,
State.
there's
Some shit.
there's a load of different small things. Like if that Jericho stuff didn't come up, was it that bad a match? Fine. It was kind of like a
Mm,
middle of the road. It was kind of like,
there was a lot of
yeah, so like
messy
if
bits in it. Yeah.
like the Swerve, you'd have been going into this match following Swerve Keith Lee, which I'm
Hmm.
sure would have been class. Earlier on, you'd have had Andrade Miro, which would have been class, I'm sure. Yeah, like it's just a perception thing. Three or four things, small like big things happened in the background that affected the people's perception of majority of this card. And it's like it wasn't that bad. Like if you're watch, it was just weird because it was a weird atmosphere and people are,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I think Darby Allin, there's a video going around of him during his entrance was shouting "You piece of shit" to Jericho in the ring or something. But anyway, yeah, it's hard to know.
Yeah.
I think it's
For 2024, the people in this match, obviously we know that
yeah,
Sting's last match is Revolution.
yeah,
More than likely, Darby Allin will be involved in that in some level or
yeah.
form. Takeshita, after a great
Takeshita,
year.
like Takeshita, that Don Callis family is fucking horrendous. I watched Rampage on Friday, and like, I get the whole heater kind of dangerous alliance Paul
Hmm.
Heyman type thing they're trying to do, but it's Callis in front of everybody and everybody in the background, which really annoys me because they've got on Rampage there was a backstage interview where you had Callis in front of the center of the camera. Behind him you had Big Bill, Ricky Starks, Kyle Fletcher, Takesha, and Hobbs. Like five individual stars in their own right who all can all talk. Um, like Takeshita beat Kenny Omega twice. Hobbs has been awesome forever. Kyle Fletcher is going to be the best wrestler in the world, and he's our TV champion now. I don't know what you do. I think you should be. You just change the dynamic to where Callis is in the background of these people or something. I think they're gonna have Ospreay come in and he's gonna continue to pretend to be with Don Callis, I reckon, for a
Hmm.
bit, and then they might pivot to. That'd be a good
Yeah,
program, actually.
Empire though.
Yeah, I think they could do. I reckon no. I reckon Mark Davis will come back, and I don't think he'd be with Ospreay. I reckon they'd do. They'd build initially to Osprey and Takeshita, I'd say, would be a good program to start off with the Don
Yeah,
Callis family kind of stuff.
trying to get Kyle Fletcher out of the family, maybe, and he has to face them.
Yeah, I
Maybe a
think that there's
trial,
gonna
face
Kyle
everybody in the family
Fletcher's
kind of thing.
conflicted or something, and then
Hmm.
I don't know. I think you keep Osprey away from all of them if you can, if you're gonna make him as a babyface. So I think you kind of have to make him a baby. It's different in Japan where you're a gaijin, you're kind of
Yeah, yeah.
foreigner, which it's I think you kind of have to make him a babyface.
Definitely
That's
got into
fired.
all, and he's definitely going to have to be.
Yeah, yeah. I think Tony wants him as his guy.
Yeah,
Fair fucks to him. He's gonna be flying around the world a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's so many people in that match, and that match are all unbelievable. I think Ricky Starks like taking the pin again. It's just
I hate
I nearly
that.
I
I
just nearly
hate.
threw my laptop out the window. Like, sorry, the whole point of Collision was to make him into like a huge guy, and then booking problems whereby he beat CM Punk, but then beat him by a screwy finish, and then Bryan came back, or Bryan Danielson, Jesus, Mark.
Yeah,
Bryan Danielson came back early from broken arm to face him, and you kind of had to have Bryan Danielson go over in that strap match. I just that 50-50 WWE booking stuff, it's like that's why WWE shit, because they book shit. Um, sorry. Uh, yeah, like I just feel sorry for him. Big Bill feels like a big deal now though, doesn't he? Like even compared to a few months ago, he feels like
he's
when he speaks on camera, when he carries
yeah.
himself, he feels, and he's not just a lumbering big oaf as he was when he's big cast. He looks kind of agile and dynamic. His movements are good.
He's definitely learned. He's picking up a lot more in AEW than he did
Yeah,
in Impact. Like he seems to be a lot more fluid. I know there was a couple of missed spots
fluid's the
on the
word. Yeah,
match, like,
like
but he is a lot more fluid. He
he's not
doesn't.
lumbering. Yeah,
He's
he
not
like he's
overthinking. He's not
no.
overthinking everything.
I'm trying to think what you do, because like there's essentially no tag division in AEW at the minute, which is annoying. Like the Bucks are at home in a huff.
Hmm.
FTR, House of Black were supposed to be on this card, I think, originally, but got
Yeah,
pushed to next week, which is a shame because they fucking needed it. Yeah, look, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. I just want better things for Ricky Starks. I think Ricky Starks, if you're given an opportunity, could be huge. But he's just anytime he's given an opportunity, he's been class. But he's also been in some really awkward segments whereby he's kind of half gone into business for himself, and things have just got weird and awkward. Like
yeah,
Kenny
yeah.
Omega, Jericho back
Hmm.
and forth to the week, whereby like fair enough, Kenny Omega was sick and like he was being weird, obviously on painkillers. There was one with Edge a while ago.
Yeah.
There's been two or three instances where he's kind of just made things awkward and it kind of derailed promo segments. Uh, and I don't know if that's just like an eagerness or what, or he's extremely fed up, which is fair enough. So yeah, I hope for better things for all
Yeah,
everybody
I
involved.
was I was fully expecting Starks to be one of the big single stars in
Yeah,
2023. The way they were booking him at the start of Collision, I thought he was going to be
yeah,
massive by the end of the year. But I'm hoping
yeah.
2024 he will be somewhere
Well,
higher up in the
I
card.
think they had to give squashing FTR and giving them the
Yeah.
tag titles was like, no, he needs this. Like there was an acknowledgement of like, no, no, no.
Hmm.
I think they weren't. I don't think he was going. They weren't going to win it originally, and then on the day of, Dax etc. were like, no, he needs this. So they did. Yeah,
Yeah. Fair fucks
yeah,
to them. Somebody who didn't or did need a title was Adam Copeland.
yeah,
This was a hell of a match.
yeah. This is
Much better than their first match
like how just
on
I'm not
Dynamite.
being funny, but like, how much better is Adam Copeland than Edge? Like genuinely, the Edge of the last couple of years when he came back to WWE, like just
Yeah, they when he
there's
returned to WWE, he wasn't the same age he
like he's not
was.
doing the like yeah like it's I don't know. It's when he returned to WWE, it was the return
Nostalgia.
kind of hype,
It was a
nostalgia.
nostalgia thing,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then he had COVID, where
Hmm.
people kind of got fed up with everybody during COVID, and then because he was brought back like as an attraction once a month
Yeah.
or once every few months, and then he was put into the House of Purple to copy the House of Black stuff, which turned out to be Judgment Day. Um, which was and he was doing Ricky Stark stuff whereby he was getting annoyed with the crowd and kind of derailing segments himself, and then he got kicked out of that. Then he was brought back here and there to do cringy kind of "Am I a devil? Look at the fire around me. I'm in the brood still. Blah blah blah. Even though I'm a man in my fifth." That kind of it was loads of that kind of stuff for ages. That was really
That's all
cringy,
nostalgia.
cliche. Yeah, and
It
then
was
like he kind of stepped away from that and did like stuff with Sheamus was very good. Before he finished up. It's just a fresh coat of paint, and I
it
think
was I think for WWE, I think he was just ticking boxes. He just wanted to wrestle people he hadn't wrestled.
yeah, and he was just put into weird like contrived dynamics, but that's just the way it is over there, I suppose.
Yeah.
He's got a level of I don't know, even just in ring, he's different, different gear. I know he's wearing his WrestleMania gear, but his
Yeah.
presentation with the short sleeve jacket as opposed to the long jackets he was wearing in WWE, stuff like that. It's I don't know, he comes across as a tougher man.
He's
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like he comes across as a man rather than like a character,
but
which is good.
he's wrestling with freedom, but he's also wrestling his best
Yeah,
friend. You know,
yeah, yeah. There was like
they're in a program together. Like, so
like
I think moving on from Christian, we'll see how.
Yeah, like
he's
it
going to be
was
booked properly.
like it was really good. He nearly killed Nick Wayne. Like I
Yeah,
genuinely thought he actually killed him. Like
fucking
he
hell.
barely touched the table and like landed him right in his fucking neck off that powerbomb. But he didn't like press him. He like
no, he just
fucking
fucked him across.
fucked him. Like it's a
Uh,
guy who's obviously hopped up on whatever, like just adrenaline into the gills. And yeah, it was. I really enjoyed it. Like it was because it wasn't like you see a lot of. Do you remember like Seth Rollins Shinsuke Nakamura match where they
mm-hmm.
went into the crowd and did a couple of dive spots? It felt all like this is what
Planned,
we do next, and yeah,
pre-planned.
and we all
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
going to be a lot of like, yeah, look, I've got a trash can lid, like everybody
yeah.
cheer
So
me type stuff.
it's safe. Like,
Yeah, this felt like they were battering each other.
they
It
know
was,
their limits. You see, they know each other so well. They know what they can
yeah,
get away with. It's not
but they
like
were also they felt like there was a genuine like not viciousness. It was very much a testosterone filled match on both ends. It
mm-hmm.
didn't feel forced or formulaic or contrived or cliched. It was good. Yeah, it was really good. Like I'm not a big weapons kind of guy, but
Hardcore.
I even like Steve Austin, Kevin Owens, I didn't really enjoy, but like I enjoyed this 'cause it was different. Everything made sense, and like sometimes shenanigans and shithousery are funny, and this like particularly when it's a character like Christian, it just you get away with it. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I don't like the trope of the Money in the Bank thing though. Like it made sense in the moment, and it was like yeah, I was like yeah, I do like that. But it's just lift and shift, copy and repeat from something else. And I hate when OTT do it. I hate when any other like CMLL, I think the only promotion in the world that don't have this sort of trope now. I don't know how well, Christian takes the contract, signs the contract. Fair enough, okay. Um, it was a lovely bait and switch though. Like it was, or Adam Copeland hits the unprettier,
Mm-hmm. Kill switch.
unprettier, yeah, impaler or whatever you want to call it. Gets the win off that, and then Lucha dickhead fucking takes out Edge. Um, then Christian hits a spear, so they got one each on each other's finishers. Um, yeah, it was good. It was nice. It was a nice bait and switch and Father of the Year. Nigel McGuinness on these matches just he adds. I honestly think he's one of the best signings AEW ever had. He
He's
just
definitely gonna.
ah
He has to get under the ring at least
yeah,
once.
but like, he's got he's wearing a cap at the minute because
Yeah.
he's just had a trip to Turkey to cover his hairline. He wasn't wearing a hat the other week on Collision. The most like
Yeah, yeah,
oh he
yeah.
looked terrible. Yeah, my
That's his
notes are
magic hat. Now he's got a
yeah
fucking rabbit underneath or somewhere.
I was taking notes through all this. That's why I'm looking at my phone constantly. But my notes were brilliant. Dusty finish. Rejoice, Father of the Year wins again. So it was yeah.
So
I,
obviously they're going for the rubber match now, are they?
Yeah,
Are they having a
I'm trying to think where they go because like it's they kind of they had a match a couple of weeks ago, then a match a
hmm.
couple of weeks later. So it's not like they've gone from one pay-per-view to another. And they've kind of this has gone through like 4 months now. Say trying to think what do
September?
they
It
have?
came in September, right?
Yeah,
September,
I'm trying to
October?
think what
No.
do they have in January that could possibly um bring this on. But I don't know. There'll be some
They'd
sort
have
of
some special named fucking episode of Dynamite
yeah, and
or
they've got
Collision.
their Canadian tour in like April, May, June. It's
Mm,
going to that, so it's hard to know.
it's a long way.
Yeah, and
Revolution.
then
They
the
can't. They,
Revolution's in February, so I don't know.
is it February or March?
I think it's February. Yeah, I
Is
think
it?
so. I think so. Yeah, usually kind of end of February type of times. It's like it's
Oh,
in a kind of banks back in the middle of Mania and Double or Nothing typically. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. They'll just sit back and enjoy the ride.
yeah. What do
Hard for
you?
2024 for both of them.
Yeah.
Copeland, I think they'll somehow bring this back around to where it's Copeland and Christian versus FTR. Uh,
Yeah.
I think that's what they both ultimately want to do. I say it all in.
Third of March. 3rd of March is Revolution.
Okay, they are.
Yeah.
And then you'll have Christian. Like if Samoa Joe could be champion, why can't Christian be champion?
Why not? Why the hell not? Give it the age. Give it to fucking everybody over the age of 40.
Yeah, like Christian's class. Like
He
he's unbelievable.
is.
Like and like
He's
WWE have never let him be class. Like fair
he's never
enough.
been that version of Christian Cage.
No,
They've
and like
never had that version of him.
and they're doing the same thing he did in TNA
Impact,
where
TNA,
he
yeah.
had a a heater. I saw somebody online tweet this when he had the
Tomko and AJ.
Tomko and AJ Styles. He called it a heater and a twink. So that's what he's got now with Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne. So yeah, like it's
Surely that story, whatever he whispered in the, kill switch thesaurus is whatever the fuck you want to call them.
yeah.
Obviously whispered something, and this is going to be something that they're going to lead into 2024 with, and eventually there'll be a reveal like in the
It's going to be really
tournament.
annoying. It's going to be annoying. They're going to do. I reckon they'll do. Jack Perry comes back. That'd be
And
so
teams
bad.
up again with
Yeah,
Luchasaurus, like saves him
yeah,
kind of shit as a
yeah,
face kind of thing.
yeah.
I
So
don't know. I
I
can't
reckon
see
that's.
it.
I reckon that's the only thing that could be possibly coming down the tracks. Like Jack Perry should be fired.
He'll
But
never be a face again, surely.
I don't know. I don't know. It's the only thing that comes to mind that like makes sense to a degree.
Yeah.
Like who else do you do, or what else do you do? Like you can't have Christian versus Luchasaurus because like he's a fucking guy who's pretending to be a dinosaur, and what's he gonna do? Just rah! Like, I'll eat you. Like I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, very strange one. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
yeah.
Uh, Eddie Kingston, John Moxley, the finals of the
Mm,
Continental Classic.
yeah.
Did you predict this? Were you predicting Eddie Kingston to win overall this competition, or
No. Um,
are you happy he won it?
I think everything was class the whole way through it. When you're like something like the content of Classic, I kind of thought it was going to be used as a vehicle for like a Swerve or a Jay White or
Mm-hmm.
somebody of that ilk to bring them up to the next level. I think everybody was better optically, everybody, but I think you could have made somebody. And I think it's kind of it's more of it feels like a nice thing for Eddie rather than making somebody. Like I think he's still on probably the same level perception wise with the
Yeah,
fans.
yeah.
I think like it's they made clear to pronounce it the Continental Crown. So like he's carrying a belt, but it's not a belt you can defend. It's like
It's
it's a crown. It's a trophy. Do you know what I mean? It's
it can only be defended next year in the Continental Classic,
yeah,
right? They
yeah.
can't defend it on a weekly episode, like.
Thank fucking God for that. But I suppose if they're for some reason they were lobbing in Eddie Kingston's ROH and New Japan titles as well.
Mm-hmm.
Probably couldn't have Mox on Ring of Honor. Yeah, I suppose it does make sense. Like, sorry, the match was class, and like
Yeah,
all the matches involving Kingston were class. Like Andrade last week, then Bryan Danielson last week. They're unbelievable. Unbelievable stories told. It's just if you think about it, like remove yourself, like what 2 months ago on paper to now, you're like, oh, Kingston winning the whole thing. And like the story they told that he kind of got through by the skin of his teeth and finally overcoming Bryan Danielson. It was so
yeah.
every story told in the TT was brilliant. And having Danielson on commentary added to it as well. It's hard to know where they go from here, though. Does Eddie go to Ring of Honor? Who does he face there? Does he face? No idea who he faces in Ring of Honor, to be honest. Even though I watch it.
Is it as like is this his limit? Like he's not going up the card. He's not going to be facing, Samoa Joe for the title anytime
Yeah, like
soon.
I thought he should have at some. I think when MJF was a heel, they should have been booked Eddie Kingston MJF a long
Uh-huh.
time ago. Um, one of my big complaints about AEW is despite there being so much panto and shit this year that since CM Punk left and Cody Rhodes is gone, they never have a babyface come to the ring with a microphone and kind of get delivers a fire promo whereby they're gonna talk you into a building or
Yeah,
get you
yeah,
to
yeah.
drive you to that next level of superstardom or
Selling a pay-per-view just
yeah,
because
no,
you're a
even
baby
just like
face.
even selling a rivalry, selling
Yeah.
himself, or there's nobody who's on that kind of level. The only people who get time in the ring to speak on a microphone now are Christian and Don Callis. And Eddie Kingston, I think, is one of the best talkers of all time. I think you could do so much more, and John Moxley as well. I think you can do so much more with them individually, selling them in the ring on their own with a microphone. Um, so I'm hoping off the back of this, you'll get that from both of them anyway for
Yeah.
2024. Yeah.
Hopefully. John, more of the same for John Moxley, and as we talked about back to Comic Con as
Yeah,
well.
so
So
he's like the ace of the world now. This Continental Classic, like every time he appeared, he felt like a bigger deal than he had in a while. Like he didn't feel overexposed because of the tournament. He
yeah,
didn't. Do you know what I mean? It was. he felt like he's John fucking Moxley and he's a bigger star than anybody else there. And because his presentation is round, like he comes out as just the UFC fighter entrance. It's not the Shield
Yeah,
entrance
yeah, yeah.
crowd. It's different. It's unique, and that's goes along with the Blackpool combat kind of jiu-jitsu, death jitsu kind of stuff. I hope he gets something that really can put his teeth into because he's Big Match John, as JBL used to call Cena. But I kind of want him to have a fucking blood feud or something now. I want him to have promos. I want him to, and that you can get that through sports based presentations completely. We
Yeah.
can have a. Do you know what I mean? All of his promos that were on YouTube and Twitter exclusives post each of his matches in the Continental Classic, as for most people they were unbelievable. But it's
Yeah.
just a shame you didn't get to see them on TV. Because he's really emotive and he's just incredible with words and he can yeah, he's better than 90% of people out there speaking and he's just not given the opportunity.
Do you think
He's also he feels real as well.
yeah, do you think him and Danielson would think they'll ever have a match again, like the Combat
Well,
Club
they,
breaking
they,
up?
had, they had matches last year. They had
Hmm.
the Grand Slam 22 against each other. I mean, I don't think either of them really that interested because they fought each other so many times. Like I suppose both of them want to work with other people and what's new, what's different. I want Moxley to be in a program.
Who's left for him to
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
feud with?
Jay White or something.
Mm.
Roosh.
Osprey,
Um,
maybe Osprey's first feud could be Moxley putting
well,
Osprey over.
He's against Moxley in 2 nights, but anyway.
Oh, I suppose, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. He just feels like an island on his own now. He feels kind of
Hmm.
removed. He's like a special attraction now as opposed to the man.
Do you think he'll finally get his time off, proper time
Yeah,
off? Give him
no,
a couple of,
don't,
bring him back in Revolution.
don't think he wants time off. He seems to be in the health of his life, the shape of his life as well. He's not like a bodybuilder, but he looks
Yeah, yeah,
physically fit. He looks physically fit and strong. Do you know what I mean he
yeah, yeah.
looks like a man who's got like natural. I say he's incredibly functional strength. He's not doing arm curls in a gym, but
No, he like well, I've seen some
yeah
of his
he was
trainings when he was in WWE. He does a
yeah
lot of sledgehammers and fucking
yeah
tire
yeah.
flips and stuff like that. He's not in a
Like
gym pumping an
he
iron, like,
looks solid. He looks
yeah,
like a man.
chopping timber.
Yeah, like he looks like that's what he's going for.
Yeah,
It's hard to know what to do with him next, but in Mox we trust. I'm sure he'll have something up his sleeve anyway.
let's hope so.
Yeah,
Main event: Samoa Joe, MJF,
yeah.
Flash Devil. Um, Surprised with the finish. It seemed to catch
I
a lot
liked
of
it.
people off guard.
I liked it. It kind of goes back to the AEW ethos of no screwy finishes.
Yeah,
Initially, when they first launched, they didn't have any screwy finishes for like well over a year, and anything at all, everything was clean finish. Yeah, and like in a MMA fight or UFC fight, you get caught in chokeholds, and you don't have the referee drop your hand 3 times to
yeah,
the
no, yeah,
floor, and
yeah.
then suddenly get that. Oh, I've got the
Hulking
power.
up.
Blah, 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 blah. Like, um, yeah, it was class.
Seemed to catch everybody in the audience. Just
It was
didn't expect it though.
yeah, and like it kind of it goes back to the story of MJF relying on Adam Cole too much with distractions, with the ring, with a load of different stuff. And MJF needing Adam Cole to beat Samoa Joe in Grand Slam, the final boss, showing that MJF is human. I really like the entrance package for MJF
Yeah,
beforehand.
that was brilliant. That was
Oh,
so
but it
fun.
was like it was kind of like a Saturday Night Live skit,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but like, should that be in the? Is that appropriate for a world title fight?
It's a Long Island
Yeah,
thing.
do
It's
you know what I mean?
probably for the locals in
Yeah,
attendance. They would like understand what They
yeah,
probably people in the video were probably local celebrities that people in the audience knew who they were. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like Samoa Joe's gotten a lot better than he was even from his last like run in WWE and NXT.
He's not sitting in a rain jacket.
Yeah, no, but even like when he went back to NXT during COVID and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
I
yeah.
kind of thought like, oh, this guy shouldn't be wrestling anymore. But he just looks effortless, cool. He is that uh,
Reliable.
kind of that Walter Gunter kind of
Mm,
guy, kind of ish role where he's just a beast who's going to beat you. His he was unbelievable at the press conference afterwards and how well he spoke. So for partners and things like that, I'm
yeah.
sure like WBD love him. They've got a game coming out soon with him involved in it. So corporate synergy says you. Yeah, I think a lot of people were really some people really loved the match, some people didn't like the match, but people who didn't like the match online at the time seemed to dislike it because Adam Cole wasn't involved in the finish.
Mm. Yeah, he
Yeah,
kind of was like he
kind of like he
pretended
could
he
have.
couldn't find the ring.
Like I mean, what it cost him 2 or 3 seconds. Like, do you know what I mean? It wasn't like it
Politics.
was. Yeah, I know, but I mean, it wasn't like
It's not
it wasn't.
exactly a
It
distraction
wasn't like
finish.
some people are stupid and want to be hit over the head with things. Like they want you
Mm.
to want something so overt and over the top, which they got afterwards. But like subtlety sometimes is lost in people.
So MJF isn't leaving WWE, or isn't
No,
leaving for WWE, is he?
Jesus, no, Christ, no. He's not going anywhere. He signed a contract over a year ago, but yeah, like yeah, he's class. He's very very injured. Like um, hypothetically, if one were to go on a steroid cycle, all your tendons and ligaments and your cartilage and stuff would become separated from your muscle and more susceptible to pick up a lot of the injuries he's carrying. That's just hypothetically if that person was on steroids, of course. So yeah, he's gonna be out for 3 to 6 months, I'd say.
Really?
Yeah, just based on the injuries I've heard he has, but like it'll probably be like a month. What do you think of the post-match angle?
I probably like most wrestling fans, they kind of knew it was going to be Adam
Yeah,
Cole, like, and the lads involved, they were pretty,
yeah,
they didn't really hide themselves, and even though they were under
yeah,
mask, you could really tell it was them. So, pretty sure it was going to be Adam Cole. I don't think they could have went any other route. There wasn't anybody else that would have made sense.
yeah. So
I thought,
you know when they had Adam Cole down and he was shouting at your man with the chair?
yeah,
Roderick Strong looks so small and slight and slender. I thought it was Britt Baker.
really.
I thought when he turned around, hit me, and he turns around, he pulls off the mask. It was gonna be Britt Baker,
You're in
and I was like,
darkness
ah,
now. I can't even see you. Are you part of
I don't know
it?
what the fuck's going on here. Like, sorry, it's jeez.
There we are.
I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, yeah, I thought it was gonna be Britt Baker, but it wasn't, evidently.
It would have been funny if she had been
Yeah, yeah.
involved. Maybe she will be involved eventually. Maybe they'll line them up on TV again. I don't know what's going on with her. Is she going to be around in 2024? Is she
I think
injured or
she's
just
injured, I
not
believe.
being booked?
Yeah, I think she's injured. She's moaning online, but she's injured. Yeah, look, I don't know what they're gonna do because Adam Cole had 2 ankle surgeries, so
He's still
so
injured, like Ricky.
yeah,
He
yeah. So
didn't.
like
He's still that boot is legit. Like he is actually
yeah,
injured,
so
so
like
he
if
can.
he's injured and then MJF's injured,
Well, the storyline is
so what do
on
you do now?
hold. Like, what do they do? Like, because do you have all the people that they attacked? Do you have Adam Page? They took him out. He's going to want
Oh
revenge on
yeah,
them.
that's clever boy over here. You could have him and the Acclaim do something maybe.
There's a lot of people they took
Uh,
out, so
yeah, yeah.
there is
Um,
options there. They claimed their trios titles, and you've got the
yeah,
lads with the Ring of Honor titles. There's definitely
yeah, yeah. And
couple of months.
obviously that's the end of the Adam stuff as well. Thankfully,
Fuck, I hope so.
yeah, yeah. It kind of goes to show that all that comedy stuff they were doing for ages was all with a plan, whereby Adam Cole gets injured, then goes off to spend weeks at a time doing chores in Roderick Strong's home.
Hmm.
Whereas obviously just putting a plan together. Um, yeah, it showed that everything was kind of actually thought out a good bit in advance. And if you just kind of let it play out, you can get a good payoff.
Yeah.
It's good. It was just I just like when wrestling's just obvious, kind of obvious. Do you know what I mean? You kind of want to be shocked still, even though you spend so long on Twitter and knowing things anyway. But I was hoping. I don't know. I was at one point I was thinking that could be Don Callis as the devil or something, but
The only theory that would have made all sense other than Adam Cole would have been Tony Khan himself. He's getting
it's me,
revenge.
Austin, me all
Yeah,
along.
well, like it would have worked if you go back to him calling Tony a fucking mark and disappearing for a
Yeah,
couple of months and then getting the title and Tony not
Uh,
being happy of him being the champion. He shouldn't be
yeah,
representing his company kind of shit. Like, but
Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin were gone from TV for a while there.
yeah,
I thought maybe you'd have Jack Perry come out as the devil with the two of them or something as the pillars plus somebody
Sean
else.
Spears
Yeah, or you could have done
talk.
like the Pinnacle, FTR, Sean Spears, and
Yeah, yeah.
Wardlow.
That's another thing. But you could have had
Yeah,
them, working under
yeah,
Tony Khan, like, and he used his history against them, kind of
yeah,
shit.
yeah. It was yeah, it was good. It's hard to know where to go from here. And like Adam Cole's gonna be out for another, I'd say probably 6 months maybe.
Are you surprised Wardlow was in this group though? Because he was
Um,
coming when he came back. He was,
he assured us online that he was in London on holiday,
yeah.
but yeah,
Well,
it was well, just say nothing. Um,
yeah, it's too easy.
just say nothing.
He didn't even put a picture of himself in London, even though he could have took ones from fucking All In. And
Yeah,
was he?
yeah,
Yeah, he didn't. He wasn't at
yeah.
All In, was he?
Yeah, I
He
think
wasn't there,
he actually was in London to be fair to
was he?
him, but yeah, but flew back yesterday, so just simple as
Hmm.
that. Preston Vance did his role on Wednesday, actually. The guy who hit MJF with the
Oh,
pipe.
really?
Yeah, yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, for Wardlow for 2024, like he is a heater, kind of suits him the best. I was kind of thinking, I thought because he had like his own separate promos to the rest of them, I thought like you might have had Alex Hammerstone be the unit
Hmm.
in that group, and I thought Wardlow could have come out to be the person who ends up saving Max. Do you know what I mean? I thought there was
Yeah.
something in that.
Hammerstone isn't. Is he head
I've
of
no
the
idea.
AEW? Do you think?
I've no idea. I've no idea. Like some people love him, some people hate him.
Like, you
He's alright.
can't really, you can't really judge him on his stuff in MLW. Like,
Yeah. I think there's
you have
enough.
to
There's
see him
enough.
on
Yeah. There's
actual
enough.
TV and work TV
Yeah.
properly. Like,
Yeah. There's a lot of good people out there. Like, and there's a lot of good people in AEW. I think they could focus on first, before bringing him in. I'd say. Um. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure where this group will go. I'd say the Kingdom. Glad they've got titles. Yeah. It's hard to say. What do you think?
yeah. I'm not sure. Like, with them both been injured, like, they can't really continue the feud if they're not even going to be
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah.
So that's probably my only prediction for
Mm.
that is it'll be Adam Page and the Acclaimed
Yeah. Yeah.
coming back for their revenge on being taken out. Because, yeah, where have the Acclaimed been? They haven't been on
Mm. They were
really
back.
been.
They were back last week, but they were kind of heelish in a
Yeah,
trios match. They did a promo the week before.
like
Hard to say.
they're
They're trying to they're trying to be heelish. They kind of half cheated to win against Andrade and Top Flight.
mm,
Pulling the tights.
that's just
So
a way to get a feud so they can
yeah,
have a title match, really. Like,
yeah,
even though
yeah,
you, I think one of the top flight lads is facing Orange Cassidy
yeah,
for the international titles this week at some stage.
yeah, yeah. Dante
Um,
Martin. He had a really good promo on the show. Actually,
yeah.
he looks like he's turned into an adult overnight. Since he got injured, I don't know. He suddenly can cut a promo. He's a lot more confident in
He,
himself.
did
He's
he
filled out a
eat a
bit.
bit more? It was in the kitchen.
There's something to it. I'd say he's had a good Christmas. I'd say, but haven't we all? But
Orange Cassidy. And
yeah,
do you think his 2024 will be as good as his 2023?
hard to top it. He's had over 61 matches on AEW
Mm-hmm.
TV. He's the AEW MVP. The kind of international titles kind of fallen down the queue a bit since Full Gear. So yeah, like AEW is cyclical television whereby you've got people kind of get cycled in and prominence in and out. So
Yeah.
hard to know. Who do you think the champions will be by year end of 2024, Jerry? Gun to your head.
Ospreay. I think
Okay. Oh, okay.
I think
Okay.
he's well. They did it with Soraya. I think he
Mm,
has to. Not that he has to win it, but I think he will eventually be AEW
yeah.
champion before the end of the year, whether it's All In or Full
Mm,
Gear or another pay-per-view they make up between now and then.
yeah.
I think he's a logical choice, but I do think Swerve will be champion. I agree with you that he should be champion even
Yeah.
for 6 months this year or 2024 at some stage. Women's champion, I don't know, Tony Storm. How long
Mm,
her character lasts, how long, like you said, her matches don't
yeah.
reflect her character. So whether Britt Baker comes back and takes the title off her, I think maybe Ruby Soho might get a chance at some stage this year. Very short reign. There is a
Mm,
lot of history there between Tony and Saraya and Ruby. They may have a triple threat match or some stage down the
mhm.
line. By the end of the year, it's I don't
Hmm.
know, maybe
Yeah.
Brett Baker again. Um, TNT title. I don't want Christian to lose it. I know he lost it
Yeah,
last night.
yeah,
He got
yeah.
it back again, but
Yeah.
he's made that title his own. I think there's no really logical person other than maybe fucking Nick Wayne by the end of the year beating him,
Mm,
and they have a fallout. Um, TBS title, not really pushed. Who wins it either way? Um, maybe Mercedes Monet will be in AEW at that stage. Maybe she'll have
mhm.
either one of the titles by the end of the year. After that, there's fucking a plethora of people who could be tag team champions, trios. There's so many titles,
Mhm.
but I think for the main ones, I think definitely Ospreay should be by
Yeah.
the end of the year.
Yeah, like along similar lines yourself. I was just gonna do three main titles. I'll do men's Osprey, women's Mercedes Moné, tag titles Aussie Open. I reckon kind of natural progression that they'll end up. Well, depending if Mark Davis comes back and they don't
Yeah,
split him up with Kyle Fletcher, but if you kind of look at no, actually, sorry, I'll change that. Gun Club, Gun Club.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, not a bad.
Um, TNT and international are kind of interchangeable as what do you
Mm,
do? What's international is more of a TV title, really. TNT's kind of got its own kind of special place. It's kind of almost a secondary world title. Um, Same with the TBS. It's not quite as big as the world title, but it's feels a bit bigger than a television title. Trios, I reckon you can have. I was originally gonna say Jay White in the Gun Club, but again, that could be interchangeable. Hopefully, trios get binned. Actually,
yeah,
not really for
Jay
me.
White does need a title at some stage, does he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, possibly TNT maybe. Or yeah, he'd be in Orange Cassidy International be good. C2 winner next year.
Oh, hmm. Well, obviously they're not going to have the same participants in it next year. They're going to have to add in a few more. Obviously,
Hmm.
some people might even be in the AW when it's done next
Yeah,
year. Like
yeah.
we lost Andrade already. So,
Danielson will be gone. Jericho will probably be gone. Sting will be gone.
hmm,
Kenny Omega might be dead. That's rude.
yeah, it's maybe Hangman. Maybe,
I reckon Jay White will win that next
yeah,
year. I reckon he'll. I think because they kind of he does. Tony does kind of does the Gato New Japan kind of arcs
yeah,
where
yeah,
it
yeah.
takes a while for people to achieve things. So I think Jay White will win the C2 next year. I
Like
think
somebody
he.
like Zack Sabre Jr. will be in it, involved in it next year. Their relations, is he still?
I don't think he'll. So I think he'll only put people he's signed in signed. He's got some people that are under contract. I doubt that you'd put him in it. Yeah, that'd be my view anyway. You never know. You might have Drew Galloway win it. You might
Never
have
know. You
Col
don't. Yeah,
you might have Tyler Black win it.
you don't know.
Yeah,
Kevin Owens' contract is up in June.
yeah. So's Sami
Sami
Zayn.
Zayn's.
So I think you'll see at least two of them in AEW. Um, yeah, that's a good one for you. Who are
Hmm.
you predicting big jumpers to and from AEW? Like jumpers, not people retiring or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
people who are crap and being let go at the end of the contract.
Hmm. Uh, it's I don't know. There's a lot of people out there you could just say it, but I think Kevin Owens would be brilliant in
Mm,
AEW. I'd love to see him in AEW.
hmm
He's obviously he's got his relationship with the Bucks already.
hmm
There his Ring of Honor history. There's a lot there they could do with him. There's a
Yeah,
lot of feuds there they could put him in. Whether or not he's going to be a WWE guy this time next year, it's hard to know.
mm,
They they're, they they've limited him out in what he can do in WWE. He can't really go any higher in the card. He's never going to be
hmm
champion again. I don't think at this stage.
oh,
The chance to be AEW champion and have a whole lot of new feuds
yeah,
probably really tickles his fancy. So yeah, I'd say Kevin Owens is probably one that I'd
yeah,
love. I would love to see him AEW. I'd love to see him
yeah,
getting some fresh big
yeah,
Kevin Steen again and being that vicious bastard he was in Ring of Honor. So
yeah. Yeah,
other
himself
way
and Sam,
around.
like neither himself or Sami Zayn have done anything at all since WrestleMania.
Nothing. No.
I think both of them are quite openly
Yeah.
annoyed by how little they've been used. They've talked
Yeah.
about it in
But
the media. I think Sami Zayn still holds quite a lot of grudges for not being put over in
mm,
Montreal against Roman. So I don't. I kind of want to say Seth Rollins, Colby Lopez, Tyler Black. Um,
Becky's contract is up as
yeah.
well.
hmm
Whether she jumps or not, I'm not
I
sure.
think if you're gonna get WBD money and you're serious, I think like as a WWE tap up AEW talent all the time, etc. I think if Tony was serious, he'd offer the moon to them too and try to talk about the partnerships that
Hmm.
he could do movie wise and things like that. I think that would be monstrous if he can get them to. I think an
If
easy choice is I think you see Drew Galloway and Sheamus O'Shaughnessy in 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 AEW.
oh, imagine it.
Going to WWE though, I think you see Ricky Starks.
Yeah, Ricky
I think
Starks.
I
I
think you
would.
see Will Hobbs.
Mm,
I think you see them two. That's all I have for the time being. Yeah.
yeah, I
Mm.
I know you won't like it, but I would like to see FTR give it another go under Triple H.
Do what?
Just give it another go. Like what have they left to do in AEW?
Want a tag team wrestle though? Like
I know, yeah, but what have they left in
I
AEW
know,
to
yeah,
choose?
but yeah, they can. I think the House of Black match would be awesome.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of stuff they can do, and they won't be given the freedom to kind of direct their own programming and things like that. I think like there's no tag teams in WWE.
no,
The
not
Usos aren't a tag team, so
no.
and Judgment Day that isn't a tag team. That's do you know what I mean? That's a weird. I don't even get it as a
But
group. I
that
don't
that's
understand what.
that's what's missing in W at the minute. There is no tag teams.
Yeah,
They need more tag teams in
you,
W,
you
but I
need
think
you
that's why
need a
they
lot.
may go
Yeah.
after Triple H may go after them and try and get them.
Well, they're under contract for a few more years, so
Yeah,
yeah.
but then again, eventually, whenever they team up, Christian and Adam Copeland have a
Yeah.
match against FTR, that's
They need to
probably
revisit the
something.
book. They need to revisit the books as well. Just
So
need
the
to
Bucks
build up.
and
They
obviously
need
the
to.
Bucks and Kenny are going nowhere.
They need to. This right. They need to be in the trios division, and all these problems will be gone because everybody will go back to being tag team wrestlers and have tag
Yeah,
team
yeah,
matches.
yeah.
Trios are just
Top
terrible.
Flight may have a good year. I think they should have a good
Top.
year if
They've
they stay
improved
injury
hugely.
free.
Yeah, they're class.
If
They are
they don't
class.
get injured again, like if they can't
Yeah,
stop getting injured, they
yeah,
should have a good chance.
yeah. There's a load of different teams that potentially can. It's just they need to separate trios from tag, and
Yeah,
or just get rid of trios and put everybody back into tag teams. But anyway, that would solve a lot of problems.
yeah.
Yeah. Major prediction for jumping from AEW or from WWE to AEW, Drew Galloway and then Ricky Starks vice versa. Gone gone through our champions. Any other big predictions for the year ahead?
More pay-per-views.
More
Is that
pay-per-views. Okay.
is that something that's in the pipeline? There was talk of that
Yeah,
last year.
I
They
think
had eight this year.
yeah, they had 8 this year plus 3 Ring of Honor. Might do another Ring of Honor maybe. I think that would make
maybe
more sense. I think they would kind of they've got 3 so far. If they get one more fit that into the calendar, I think that would make sense. Where you put it in, I don't know, but 12 pay-per-views across the TK umbrella would be good and be all easily put together and packaged for whoever buys the streaming rights. So I
yeah,
think I was apparently WBD have all their streaming things together or the package together
yeah.
for AEW that was organized a long time ago. So who knows? WBD are also looking to merge with Paramount Plus at the moment. So
There's a
I
lot
don't think that
of money
I
on the
don't
table.
yeah, I don't think I think they're heavily in debt as well, so I don't think they'd have the money to fork out for WWE either, which probably works in AEW's favor too. If WWE are looking for like say 400 million or 300 million a year, I think getting AEW for less than half of that would be a far more prudent
Yeah,
investment
yeah.
decision given how much money you're losing hand over fist for your stakeholders currently. So we'll see. I'll say there'll be something announced in the coming weeks anyway, though.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
It is going to be a big year for wrestling. We're
Mm.
looking forward to 2024. Hopefully we'll all be at All In September. I'm not sure if you have planned to go to any other events for AW or
Nothing
maybe New
planned.
Japan.
Yeah, New Japan. No, nothing mental or planned as of yet, but yeah, see how it goes. I don't have any back at the bash at Berlin or whatever, or backlash at Paris. I don't have any of that on the agenda. I know you're off to WrestleMania, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, we'll see how we go. All in's all I got on the bingo cards for this year so far. Hopefully there'll be another event in the autumnal winter time of year. I can kind of
yeah.
pencil it before you're out.
Yeah. And lots more OTT.
Mm. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, there you go, lads. That's our predictions for 2024. Let us know in the comments what you thought, what your predictions are. If you have any predictions for people jumping ship to either company, or who you think is going to be champion by this time next year, leave them in below. As always, like, comment, subscribe on our videos. Check out the rest of our content. Mark, it's been a pleasure having you on. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.